Guys, thanks so much for talking today to share your story of healing Crohn's and colitis and our group coaching model. Very new, very interesting. And for everyone listening, every single person on this call has been diagnosed Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis and has had extreme issues with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And they have come into what we call our private group setting to heal as a team, to learn as a team, to grow as a team. The results we've gotten, I could not be more proud of. I dare anyone in the world to try to do these types of results that we're seeing. They're that unbelievable. And for everyone to witness each other healing in real time is an extraordinary feat, which makes me so excited to have this type of model for our Crohn's colitis community. So what we're going to do is take a few moments and you're going to get a little bit of a understanding of each person in the group and where they are now and what they've been able to achieve, for better or for worse. Okay? And so we have 6 members in here, all 6 who've been in the group. And they've been together for a while. Rachel, you've just joined the group about 6 weeks ago, but the other 5 have been together for at least 6 months, I think it is. Right, guys? I think Dolores came in. Jay, I think you're the most old school. Jay, Angie, Mike, but been in for many, many months. So let's start with Jay. Can you tell us a little bit about what you were diagnosed, real quick, what your symptoms were like and what your symptoms are now?
Yes, my name is Jay. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. I had 12 bloody diarrhea movements a day. Actually ended up in the hospital with extreme cramping and just so much pain. I ended up in the hospital for 4 days. But during this program, I'm able to be symptom-free right now. And it's amazing what I've learned from everybody in the group and listening to their stories and motivating me. But just when I thought that I arrived at a new step, I'm able to learn something from someone else and what they're learning that relates to me. And during my progress to no symptoms, I was able to learn and take another step on top of that mom right now. And it's unbelievable the amount of knowledge you can learn from everybody going through the same thing, and their motivation and their inspiration. It's just, that's what brought me to where I am today. And I'm symptom free, and I'm still here because I'm still learning. Yeah. As I'm going, it's like right now I can't even leave the group right now. I just renewed another session. So
it's a once in a lifetime. And Jay, have you been able to broaden your diet and eat a bunch of different foods and go to restaurants and have celebration meals?
Yeah, I just got back from Chicago and ate out dinner for 3 days, whatever I wanted to eat, and not because I wanted to, but I'm back and I'm eating what's healthy because I want to eat. I want to be healthy. But yeah, celebration meals. I went to Chicago last weekend and ate out 3 days in a row. So it was really neat.
All right, awesome. And Jay, last question here is: you came in on many different medications and they weren't working. You were having the blood, the cramping, the urgency. You weren't getting anywhere. A lot of trauma around that. Have you been able to release that trauma and feel normal about yourself and get rid of most of your medications?
Yes, I just got off of LDN therapy. I was I'm on Liata. I just reduced that, and I was really nervous about getting off LDN. I actually been off it about 3 weeks, and I'm still symptom free. And that's the stress. Okay, once I start getting off some of these medications, what's going to happen? Yep. And the fear, the anxiety. But like Dane says, you got to be happy in the process. I have to be happy when I stop this medication and continue to keep that mentality of being happy. And so far, I'm 3 weeks off LDN therapy, and I'm symptom free. So
and you haven't been on steroids for months, and no biologics.
No steroids, no biologics. On all the supplements that you've been recommending, and the supplements that you've been recommending on part of the group that I've learned that I grabbed, and I've seen great results from that too. So listening to everybody's journey is helping my journey.
Yeah, and group, let's everyone answer this at the same time. Does anyone have the same protocol?
No.
Nope. Not one person's doing the same thing. No. How cool is that? That's really cool. Okay, let's jump next. Let's go to Rob. Rob, can you tell us a little bit about what you were diagnosed with? What was that like, and where you are now?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease probably going on about a year and a half or so ago. And I kind of took a little bit of a different turn than most people would. From the beginning, I was more of like, hey, I don't really want to take the medication. I don't want to do this. I want to go the natural route. I know my body can heal itself. So I tried finding doctors that would help, or more natural medicine doctors, things like that. And I had some, I definitely kept like decent overall. My symptoms kind of went down and kind of stabilized somewhat, but I still had bleeding here and there. I still had pain. I still had, I just wasn't feeling right. I lost a lot of weight. I went down to about 7% body fat, and just wasn't feeling that great. And I started being like, man, I really need to do something. And I'd seen the group and everything before, and had some people recommend it. And so I was like, I think I'm going to try this, because it's like, I'm just not getting the results that I want to see.
Yeah.
And I think that, having that, the support, and everything is really important for that. So once I started the program in general, that helped one, but then just, I still was like, man, I really want to get better results, even more than just what the regular standard program would offer. So when the group coaching opportunity came up, I was like, let's do this, because it definitely offers a slightly more cost-effective version of like the private coaching, so that you can still be involved in that way. So I started that, and it is definitely not only just, the first, part of the program took me to a better level than I was, where my, bowel movements got better. My bleeding went away for the most part. I only had some here and there, so it was a lot better. My energy went up a lot. And then the group coaching has even taken it to another level, being able to, just weekly go over things, and it really refines stuff every single week. And not only with like, the health stuff, but, we've also talked a lot about, motivations and emotional sides of healing that have been a huge thing. And it's really one of the biggest parts of healing Crohn's colitis.
Huge. People don't realize it, and I don't think I ever realized it, how big emotional part of the healing, of the trauma of what you've been through. Now, one of the traumas that you had, Rob, you were only eating what, 6 foods, a variety of 6 different foods for how long?
Basically, when I started out, I was like, I got so strict, because like when my first doctor that was more traditional medicine was like, look, if you don't have this, if you don't take these medications, you're going to come in and you're going to have surgery. Like I can guarantee you. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So like, I was like, well, what can I eat that doesn't seem to affect me? So I literally went to like, I was doing like one specific food for breakfast. I was doing like a couple foods for lunch, avocado, lentil pasta that didn't seem to bother me. And then I was doing like a shake for dinner, and that was it. I ate that way from like for like a year or so. Literally every day.
The same thing every day for at least a year. That helped with symptoms, right?
It did.
Down, but you were trapped.
It did. And that's the problem, is like, I was like, oh, I feel good, but it's like, but I'm not healing if I am so trapped. Like, that's not healing.
Yes.
So, because like, if I go out, if I try something new and it gives me my symptoms back, well, I'm not healing myself. I'm just like, like trapped in a box. It's like, I feel better, but I can't get out. Like I need out. So,
yes.
So yeah.
And what's happened with the type of food you've been eating over the last few weeks?
Well, the last few weeks and months, I've been able to add in, I've definitely, even though I'm still strict with stuff, I've been able to add in some new foods, the congee, then some of the oatmeal, and adding in some extra things, and even some little
corn chips and some celebration meals.
Some healthy snacks, the Zuki bread. I hadn't had bread in a year and a half, and it was like, oh my goodness, some kind of bread, the gluten-free bread. So that was awesome.
Back in.
So yeah, so it's great. And I think with group coaching too, what I really like about it is, you have these different levels. Everybody's at a different level, so when you come in, when you talk to people, a lot of times you're like, oh, well, that person's maybe worse off than my symptoms seem to be. But that person seems slightly better. But then either way, you're seeing both sides. So it's like everybody's at a different area. And sometimes, you seem to be the one with the better symptoms or worse symptoms than someone else. But it's just kind of like going back and forth and being able to hear that. So it gives you motivation, not only like, hey, that's where I was, and for someone else to be like, look where they can get to because of the other people's, improvements, but also like you can see like how far you've come compared to someone else too. And like, hey man, like, wow, I was there just a few weeks ago, or months ago, but now I'm here. So it's cool to be able to contrast that and get, that from and of course, like Jay said, sharing, protocols that other people are doing, and like, hey, that product sounds cool. I'd be interested in trying that too, because I have similar, symptoms or something like that. So that's been awesome with the group coaching for sure.
Yeah. And it's always why. We're not doing it blindly. There's strategy behind everything we try. Everyone talks strategy. Why? What's root cause? What's the lab work? And sharing each other's lab work. and seeing this, the problem, like, hey, you guys should try this. Hey, you guys should look at that. And you get this team. And you, in that live aspect is so big, Rob. Thanks so much. And congratulations, and keep moving forward. Rob's doing great things. Let's go to Dolores. Now I'm excited to tell Dolores, because Dolores has not gotten perfect results. And she's been a hard worker in this thing. So Dolores, tell us a little bit about your experience with Crohn's and colitis.
Yeah, sure. So I've had ulcerative colitis for about 13 years, manageable through steroids, majority of that time.
Yeah.
4 years ago, got really, really sick on a vacation and never recovered. And that just spun into a downward spiral, like 20 plus, bowel movements, bleeding up all night. I did try like a holistic functional approach in 2018, but it just wasn't the same as what I've experienced here. I couldn't manage it. I couldn't implement it as a lifestyle. It was more of almost a temporary kind of, you do this, you get this. It was a different approach. So, I was forced to get on some immune suppressants. I did Humira, I did Remicade, didn't have any relief, was anemic, did a iron infusion and Stelara last September, got a really good amount of relief, but ultimately I've always felt like there's always another answer to this outside of that. And I did what I had to do to get by and give myself that time and space that I could create to get to a point. But there's more to that healing. And so I joined the program back in February. And then from there, I actually joined group coaching in May. And so although I have not gotten some of the symptom reliefs that, some of our other people in the group have gotten, I've gotten something different in that aspect. And it's just so much more just an advocate and just like accountability and just really the education and just being really aware of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and be able to pivot when things don't go the way that you expect. Yep. And not being, down on yourself and thinking this won't ever work, because, there's proof in everyone that we interact with in this group that their stories are proof that there are answers, and you have to be diligent and persistent and resilient in what you want and how you're going to get it. And yep. I feel like it's really enabled me to be a better person and involved, and not just like health-wise as far as food and exercise. It's really like mental, spiritual, emotional. It's like every facet of your health as a human being. So that'll allow me to show up better as, not only like a mother, a wife, a friend, a peer, but I'm just going to elevate who I am and continue to push that. And that's really what I've gotten out of the group coaching.
Let's dive into Rachel, because I think Rachel's story is a really good or exciting story around where yours was. And Rachel just joined group coaching about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So she's still new to this, but me and Rachel did privates for a long time. Rachel, can you tell everyone a little bit about where you started and where you are now, and a little bit about how hard you worked to get where you are right now? Because it's exactly, I think, in unison to what Dolores is going through.
Yeah, I was diagnosed 14 years ago and had flares throughout those 14 years. I had done I worked with functional medicine doctors and tried a lot of different things. Just like Dolores, had been able to heal from a past flare, but the same thing, I didn't have the tools to be able to do it myself. I wasn't empowered to manage my symptoms if they ever came back. And so I did about 5 years ago, my father passed away. All of the stress and the trauma from that flare, I had a major flare up. And so I had tried to do everything I did in the past to get well, and, diet on my own, the supplements on my own, going to a functional medicine doctor, and just, doctor after doctor gave up on me. And so I was really at my wit's end. My health was in really poor shape. I had a really, really scary colonoscopy. And that's when I had found Dane. I had been following him on social media for a year, and I wasn't totally sure, because there are a lot of people out there that you're just not confident in, or you don't know what's real and what will work and what's a gimmick. And so I decided to get on a call, and so we did coaching together for, about a year and a half, maybe a little bit more. And that was really powerful. We tried a lot of things. We went like, full throttle, for a long time. And then we'd pull off, we'd put on the brakes. There were some, little victories. And then there were some, it wasn't perfect at all.
Yeah, it was tough.
Really,
And
yeah.
Rachel, going back to a little bit before when you joined the program, you had tried working with other doctors and you were getting no results for years. So you had already been flaring for about 3.5 years before you came, right?
Yeah.
With chronic symptoms for 3.5 years, could not get rid of them. And no, you were trying functional doctors, you're trying diets. I mean, it was a really tough case that everyone else, as you said, was giving up on. So you started with one of our other coaches, and then you started working with me eventually. And we got victories, but what were your symptoms like? I mean, what about waking up in the middle of the night and urgency and diarrhea and bowel movements? I mean, what were you stuck with? What did that look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, diet alone, that pretty much reduced the bleeding. So when I started on with you guys, I really didn't even have much blood. But yeah, the waking up in the middle of the night for 5 years, I woke up in the middle of the night, anywhere from like, 3 to 9 times a night. And that was just miserable, not being able to sleep. And then going to the bathroom, we were able to get it down to, like, I remember when we got it down to 6 to 8 times a day. That was a huge victory.
We were at 15 for the longest time.
Yeah.
And we were at 15 when you were doing carnivore diet, when you were intermittent fasting, when you were meditating, when you were doing vegan diet. I mean, you were going extreme, and we are not seeing symptom relief. And we were like, man, we're trying so hard. When that happened for like a year, right, of trying, but you were resilient. You said, this is it. This is the best way to do it.
Yeah. I just knew that, I mean, you're the only person that never gave up on me. Like every other doctor was like, I don't know what else to do with you, try this drug and then come back to me and see how you feel. And you always had another stone to turn over, and you always had this positive, just reinforcement. So that, was super helpful, because there were some times I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but yeah. So.
And me too, to be honest, there were times where we were working so hard and it was like, why won't her body respond? What is it? But then finally we did get a response. And where are your symptoms now?
So I'm down to 2 to 3 bowel movements a day. I sleep through the night beautifully. Wow. No more urgency whatsoever. I mean, I just feel like freedom. I feel like I'm out of this prison cell, and it's amazing. It is just, truly is.
And have you been able to eat more food, have more freedom, good energy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that was hard. And I love your story. And I've been telling people in group coaching about your story for quite longer than you know, because your resilience was so part of it. Part of healing for everyone listening to this testimony. This is not like any other testimony. This is raw and real. These are real stories, real people healing together. You got to be able to help yourself, like Rachel and Dolores are helping themselves, and Jay, and you come in and we are there to partner with you and help you make sense and train you. Okay, how many here feel empowered that you understand functional medicine, that you understand how food works, how supplement works, what's going on with root cause, lab work for the rest of your life? This isn't just about getting magic answers and magic symptom relief. This is about being empowered to know how to take care of yourself. And that's what's really happening. And that's what the resilience has given you, Rachel, because you know what is actually needs to happen now. You know what works. You know what needs to work. And congratulations on all the success. And we're going to continue to get success, because we want to get that down to 2 to 3 without any bloating, with good energy, right? And be able to eat more fibers and more foods that you still have had a hard time, because a lot of years you couldn't eat any fiber. You couldn't eat any foods, right? But now we can eat more, and we're going to continue to eat more. So congratulations on your success. Angie. All right, Angie, your case is amazing. I love your story. Angie, can you tell everyone a little bit about your experience with Crohn's and colitis? What happened to you, and where, and what were your symptoms like before, and where are you now?
Yeah, so I've always had symptoms growing up. Even as a kid, I remember just feeling sick all the time. And it wasn't until 2019 that 2012 that I got diagnosed and with ulcerative colitis. And I tried a natural doctor and had a really bad experience, and it turned me off of natural medicine. And so I went the allopathic route, and I did all of the biologics. They kept switching me out for different biologics, and I responded to Remicade for a little while, then it stopped working. And then they tried Entyvio, and they tried all the steroids. And even when they said I was in remission, I never felt great. It was to the point after I had my son, it was actually after I stopped breastfeeding, I went into a massive flare, worse than I ever have. I was going to the bathroom upwards to 40 times a day. I stopped counting after that. And it was just blood. I mean, in the past, I've had to have 4 blood transfusions just to replenish my blood loss. And this last flare was different though, because it started attacking my joints to where I couldn't move. So you pair ankylosing spondylitis, which is the arthritis I had, and where my husband would have to pick me up and lay me into bed. I couldn't lift my son up because it was in my SC joints, but pair that with going to the bathroom 40 times a day. And it's just a nightmare. Yeah. So I was desperate. The doctors didn't know what else to do. Even the rheumatoid, arthritis doctor. Yep. He also said, he just wanted me to switch my biologics. And I just got so sick of that answer. And I thought, that can't be the only answer, the only way. And they wanted me, I actually met with a surgeon to have my colon removed. And I love my surgeon. I loved her. But I left feeling like, even if I have my colon removed, I'm going to still have massive symptoms. And I can't have that. So yeah. I found Dane's group. I actually looked at a few others before stumbling upon his on Instagram. And I just loved his approach of cherry picking the best from everywhere. So yeah. I've tried the S.H.I.E.L.D diet. I've tried vegan. I've tried a bunch of different stuff, but I've never thought of cherry picking all the best parts and then making it work for you and finding your specific remedy. And I think that's what's so empowering about this program, is that my experience is not going to be the same as everyone else's, but I have the power to figure it out. And I think that's why group coaching is so powerful, because I think chronic illness is so isolating. It makes you feel like even if you have a bad day, you just want to give up. And it makes you feel like you're the only one in the world having accidents or sick in bed that can't move. And then you come to group coaching and you see Dolores, who's still struggling, but man, she turns over every stone. And it's like, if she can do it, I can do it. Or, you hear about Rob and how specific he is, or I could go on. I mean, I'm like Jay. I'm like, I can't quit group coaching because these are my friends. But it's just so empowering to see everyone else's experience and to have that. It's a small community, right? Because we can find communities in Facebook or wherever, but it's an intimate group of people that they're going to be there when you have your call, and that you can tell them what's going on. You have the Slack message. Yeah. So even during the week, if I have a question, I can pop it in there and people respond and just send all the love. And it's been amazing. And I think especially with chronic illness, you need some sort of vent and that intimate community to be able to boost you up on those hard days, and then to celebrate other people's successes. I think that's what's so empowering too, is if I'm having a bad week, I can come to group coaching and see that Mike has gotten some massive improvements, and then it boosts my mood, even though I might have had a rough week. And so I think, I could go on, but I just think that this is the best, and our group specifically is awesome.
Good, Angie. And you said a lot of valuable things, and I love all that because it's so true. Where are your symptoms now? 40 bowel movements a day, blood, urgency, got to remove your colon. Where's your lab work? Where's your symptoms and all of that? How you doing?
So I am off of all medication. I was on a pharmacy. My counter, I'm not even exaggerating. My counter was filled with prescription drugs, and I'm off of all of them, off of all biologics. I have my life back. I go canyoneering and putting on wetsuits, and I don't have that massive anxiety like I had before. I'm not pulling off the road to go to the bathroom, and my bowel movements are down 1 to 5. We're still working on those, but I will take 1 to 5.
You're having days where you have 1 bowel movement. And then you have some off days where you have 5, but usually around 2 to 3.
Oh yeah, well, and 5. I mean, I can handle. I mean, we got that.
I know, but I think that if you live in your averages, we're still around maybe 3, probably 3, maybe 4 absolutely. On a day when you're doing things right, which is
absolutely.
And
so 0 occult blood, which is amazing considering I was having just straight up blood coming out. My calprotectin, when I was not even that bad, the last time I had my calprotectin check was in the thousands, and that's when my flare-up wasn't terrible. So I know it skyrocketed from there, but now it's down to 15.
What was that? I mean, I calprotectin at? 15. All right, congratulations. 15 calprotectin, normal inflammation with no medications. And
Yeah,
how
I'm
long
just
ago,
amazed.
how many months ago did the doctors want to take out your colon? How long ago was that?
It was last December, so it's coming up on a year in a couple months. But I mean, we had massive improvements. I mean, we're working on that last 20%, right? But I had that 80% massive improvement show up within a few months. You know, I've been in group coaching since the beginning.
When you joined the S.H.I.E.L.D program, how quickly did you see results?
Oh, I mean, instantly. I mean, you don't jump from zero.
You writing me like 2 or 3 days in, you noticed a difference.
And it's not like I'm all of a sudden 100% healed, but you see these massive jumps, and then you have other weeks where, you know, you have to figure out what to tweak.
Yeah.
Healing is never linear, and I think that's something that you learn on group coaching as well. But gosh, you see these big, massive jumps, and it just makes you want to. It's a rabbit hole, really. I'm like so interested in functional medicine now, and I'm like asking Dane about other things that my family is going through, and I just think there's so much out there, and it's so empowering to know that you don't just have to go towards the steroids, you know?
There's more you can do. And that's a huge testament. 2, 3, 4, maybe on a bad day, 5 bowel movements, getting a lot more formation, no major bloating, no cramping, no blood, no normal calprotectin, no drugs, no need for surgery. Congratulations, Angie. Awesome stuff. Mike. Now, Mike, I love your story too, because you had no background in any of this, and you came eating regular cheese fries and cupcakes and working on roofs and playing hockey and drinking beer. And you're in your 40s. You've been doing this for your whole life.
Yeah.
Okay. And then all of a sudden this experience, and a lot of us, we're busy, right? You got kids.
Yeah.
Raise your hand here if you got kids. Oh, everyone's busy on this call. So we all got kids. We've all got responsibilities. We've all lived our lives and built the way we live. So Mike, tell us a little bit about what you were going through. What happened with you and where are you now?
Yeah, well, I'll start with that. First of all, I was very busy before all this started. A roofing company, also worked full-time at the airport anyways. And I was so busy and doing everything, 3 kids, and then all of a sudden diagnosed with colitis. So that pretty much stopped me in my tracks right there. I was also diagnosed with PSC liver disease.
Primary sclerosing cholangitis, an autoimmune disease. Okay. Yes.
Exactly.
The liver gallbladder. Yeah.
And I had developed 2 blood clots in my lungs. I had originally lost 50 pounds. So yeah, I went through a lot. I felt really sick. I've basically had no relief, I had this for 5 years now, and I've had no relief up until this point of joining this group. It was hard for me to actually pick up the phone and reach out to Dane and Thomas there, and kind of Thomas motivated me to get, should try this out, and I think it'll be good for you. So I kind of went outside my comfort zone and tried it, and finally started feeling my life back a little bit. And I have tried a lot of other things in the past. I've tried acupuncture, SCD diet. I've tried medical medium. I've tried banana diets, everything possible.
Banana diets. And Mike, what were your symptoms like before joining the program?
Sorry, I was going, I'd say 15 to 25 times a day. I was up through the night. I was seeing blood. Just literally, I couldn't make it from my couch to the washroom. That's how bad it was. Afraid to leave the house, afraid to go do anything really. So really, it wasn't easy.
And no energy. And
no energy. Energy was low. Yeah.
And on tons of different medications, and the doctors were pushing the surgery. That's
right. Yeah, they're pushing the surgery from day one, but I just felt inside, no, I wanted to try everything else first. And there's days where I wanted to give up. And to quite frank, this group has really helped with that. They've encouraged me, inspired me. This group has even prayed over me, and yeah. So it's been really
it's been shifting, really emotionally shifting, right?
Yes. Yep.
To anyone out there who's listening, who's dealing with Crohn's and colitis, newly diagnosed, 25 years diagnosed, they're 40, they're 18 years old, doesn't matter. What would be your 1 or 2 sentences to say to that person who's at the beginning line of all this with where you are now? Go ahead. I'll start with it. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say, like, a lot of people tell you there's just no other option. the doctors just say there's nothing you can do. You're stuck with this. You're stuck with surgery. You're stuck with medication. I think that it's definitely, I would say, give it a try. Try it. Your body can heal itself if you have the right tools, you have the right resource, you have the right support groups. And I'd say give it a try, because it'll change your life, and you can get your life back and get your health back. And not only that, but you can be just above where you ever were before, and all those around you as well.
Okay, I love it. And maybe Jay, say something about what would you say to someone who's in the S.H.I.E.L.D program, who's wondering if group coaching is a waste of money?
Definitely not a waste. I've been doing it since January, and Dane's real big about community, and this is community. Yeah. This is what it's all about, joining strangers and coming together and becoming family and walking through a storm together. Yeah. That's community. Yeah. That's something that's like Band of Brothers stuff. Yeah. You can't replace that. And to do it live. What's that like? Live together. Angie, what's that done? You were saying that earlier, to see other people with diagnosed Crohn's colitis, and I don't know what the results are going to be. There's no editing here, guys. I can't market it. Every week you come and it is what it is. It's the most authentic truth of possibility ever, because I don't have control on what happens to you each week and how it influences each other. Angie, how does that feel to watch other people live?
Yeah, it's just empowering. I mean, knowing that there's a whole world out there of options and things that you can try, and that you're not your disease, and there's so much more out there. And I think that's the biggest part of natural healing and this group coaching, is that, you learn from each other. So I have notes written down from, if I see blood, try this, from other people. And I think that's what's so cool. I mean, it's just empowering, and it's opening up your whole world to options that you don't even know exist. But yeah.
Okay. And then Dolores and Rachel and Mike, what would you say to someone maybe not in the program, or someone who's already in the program and thinking, oh, I just bought this program. The program is very successful. I think everyone here got some pretty good results just in the program. And then when you look at groups, the extension and all the value that we're talking about, what do you think about that?
I think that the group coaching just took it to a next level. And I think it's the community, right? I think that gives you, it's inspiring, and it fills me up just like emotionally, spiritually, mentally. It really motivates me, particularly in my journey. And, you learn from so many people that you encounter in the conversations that we have. And I just think it makes me feel, I was in such an uncontrolled situation. I felt out of power, out of control, but it gives me back that power in my life to live the life I want to have. And it really reiterates that it's up to me, and you guys definitely give us the tools to execute on that. So
amazing. I love it. Yes. And that's what it is. It's not about perfection. It's growing, refining together. Rachel, what do you think? And then Mike, what do you think on that?
Yeah, it's definitely, we all have different paths of getting us there. And there really isn't one right path for one person. There are different avenues, and it's just about, you hit a roadblock, and then you back out of that and you go down another path, and then you find out what works for your body. And as you start, healing, for some people it is, this victory, but a lot of times it's, it's a bumpy road, but you're constantly learning. Even if something doesn't work, you've learned from that. So it's definitely worth it. And the difference between, because I did one-on-one coaching for a long time, and now coming into a group, it's empowering to see how everybody else, fills out their blueprint and how meticulous they are or not so meticulous, and realizing, okay, I don't have to be, this cookie cutter, person. I don't have to follow a diet to a T, or else I'm not gonna. And you don't have to hold on so tightly. You can let go.
You held on really tightly, Rachel.
Yes, I did. I white knuckled it, and I'm like, I want this so bad. Why isn't it working? And it 1%. Wasn't until I kind of just let go of it, and I'm like, okay, this is going to happen when it's going to happen, and just trusting that. If I gave up, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm really thankful for the journey, even though it hasn't been easy.
Yeah. And Mike, what would you say to maybe a guy who just came from that classic way of eating? He's a sports player. He's a dad. He just doesn't think he can do it. He's too old. He's too, his friends won't accept him, any of that. What would you say?
For me, I just say keep the faith and keep believing, and that's what I'm doing. And just keep, trucking along, because every week it hasn't been like you said, a total takeoff for me. It's been a bit of a bumpy road, but I've gotten this far in 6 months, and even days where we thought we couldn't get through, my wife said to me, maybe we should just do the surgery, and I said, no, I have to look at the positive. Look how far I've come. Let's just keep going. So that's what I'm doing. Just keep believing. Yeah, just keep growing and keep learning and keep building each other. So guys, no matter what experience you've had, where you've come from an extreme situation to not as an extreme situation, we grow and we learn together. And I think that's why I'm so excited about group coaching. It was actually Thomas's idea. Thomas, everyone can thank Thomas, because he's the one who said, Dane, we need to do group coaching. Let's make this happen. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think I can do that. But here we are. And Thomas himself has had UC and has been able to get himself something free. So he, as well as an assistant coach. Thomas, thank you so much for being a great assistant coach. So anyone who's listening to this, you have to be in the S.H.I.E.L.D program to do that. Why? Because this is an invite-only program. We are connecting you with other community members. Your mind, your spirit has to be in the right place. You have to be willing to learn and grow. And you need to have basic understanding of natural medicine in the S.H.I.E.L.D program to come and do this higher level training. And Thomas you can talk to Thomas and reach out to him if you want to learn more about it. And who knows, maybe you'll come into this group with some of these people and continue to learn about how they've gotten so powerful, and they can help you reach your goals.